party started because I want to start right on time and give all of us a good 50 minutes because I know we're going to ask Julie so many incredible questions. First and foremost, Julie, this is all of my 5 to 8 star diamonds in the West and the Central region. They are extremely strong leaders. You'll probably recognize many of them. And I will just say, when we announced that you were going to finish out this mastermind session, it was like a praise baby Jesus. Like, it was an excitement. So,
that's a lot of pressure.
No pressure. So this is who you are speaking to. They are working towards huge goals by the end of the year. But most importantly, you know, many of them are very seasoned coaches. They've been in this business a very long time. They have amazing foundations and amazing organizations. And so I really feel like you are the one who can speak true to this, knowing how long you have been in the business. And I feel like I am getting like a triple dose of Julie. I feel like her and I have been hanging out for the last couple of weeks on everything that we're doing.
I know, we get together.
Honestly. So without further ado, I'm going to change this to speaker view. So we can see Miss Julie here. But let me just introduce her real quick. I don't really feel like you need an introduction, but I feel like I need to. She is a superstar diamond coach. If you did not know, she's from Indiana. Okay, all know that. She's been a coach for 10 years, 9-time elite. She received the award, the Initiative Award, which is incredible, at Summit just a couple months ago. She is founder of Team Sparta Nation and an amazing mom to 3 beautiful girls who all are kind of leaving the nest, which is kind of crazy, and an incredible husband who is obviously a football coach. So if there's anything I missed, will you please just kind of give us a little bit more about you, and then we will just jump into allowing these ladies to ask you questions.
Well, I will share with you that our celebration last night was Jessie, the youngest one, got her first college acceptance letter last night of the many that we've sent out. So if anyone's in Nashville, she got accepted to Belmont last night. So she's like, okay, I am going to college next year. If no one else accepts me, Belmont did, I'm good. I'm like, oh, you're going out of the house next year is what's happening. So that was exciting. Last night. But yeah, we have 3 daughters. My husband's a football coach here in Indianapolis at Butler University. And we just sort of 10 years ago, when nobody knew what Beachbody was, least of all us, we sort of put a stake in the ground and said, we're going to build something here that makes Beachbody sit up and take notice. And it wasn't really focused on my team at the time, although it was only because we were the only team in Indiana. So, you know, everything was team centered, but it was more like, we're going to put Indiana on the map in the Team Beachbody world. And I think we did that in June, and we're looking forward to doing that again next year. So it's been a really cool ride. It's been really fun to watch the growth of going from only having P90X. And then I remember when Insanity released. So we had like P90X and Turbo Jam and then Turbo Fire. I remember when Insanity released, and then, you know, Shakeology. And so I've been a coach since before, since the Stone Age, since like before we had the internet, I've been a coach. No, I think I started on MySpace. So it's been a long time, and it's been really fun to watch the evolution and the growth, and to know we're an international company, to know that we've just sort of chipped the tip of the iceberg as to where we're going with this company. And, you know, I think to myself, one of the coolest parts for me last year, or a couple months ago, always feels like last year once you move on from Summit, was knowing how many people, and you all have this in your life too, the people that have sort of said no, or just watch you but never join your team. And I thought, all those people are going to drive downtown Indy in June, and they're going to see those banners, and they're going to have a, oh crap, like this is for real moment. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And you have those people in your life too, that are sort of waiting and watching, and they know you drink Shakeology, and they ask you for advice and and they just don't join your team. And every time we expand, United Canada, United Kingdom, wherever we go, I feel like it's that oh crap moment for them. And at some point, those people are going to come along for the ride. So every place we go, every place we expand, everything we do just enhances our name, our marketing, our presence. It's all good stuff. So it's really cool. But I'm hoping to answer some questions. I don't know how many answers I have, but will certainly share the experiences I've had over 10 years, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what I'm still trying to figure out, if it will work, and all of that. Does that help, Brittany?
Yes, and so this is their opportunity now to unmute themselves. I promise you, Julie will not bite you. She's probably the most kind, caring, loving person I have ever met. So have this opportunity to rub elbows with her. Please unmute yourself and start asking questions.
I'll ask a question. Since I am on my way to teach a class while I have a chance. So I think you are so awesome, Julie. Every time I ever hear you speak, I just want to cheer. So thank you for all that you share. But my question is about bringing on new coaches to your team. I've found that when I have coaches join my team from a challenge group, it usually flows pretty well.
Agree.
And then the few coaches that I've had who have started, like intentionally started straight into coaching, most of the time have quit pretty quickly. And some of them even, they start really excited, and then like 3 days into new coach training, they freak out and quit, and I never hear from them. And so I've been kind of trying to process, okay, what should I do differently? Because some of them, I think, even especially now that I just hit 3 years of coaching, and I feel like now I'm starting to have some even like higher caliber people reach out to me to want to coach, and they're really excited, and then they lose it. And I understand it's like drinking from the fire hose and all of that. And so I'm kind of like, okay, maybe should I back up and say, okay, you have to go through 2 weeks of a challenge group first before I'll even let you start the new coach training? Because I think if they could see it, they would understand. Or so I just kind of wondered, what do you do when you're bringing someone on who maybe wasn't a challenger to start, who's just starting as a coach?
Well, first of all, let's not focus so much on what I'm doing, but let's talk about what you're doing. And what I think you're doing right now is overthinking it.
Okay.
So, hi, welcome to Just Being a Female. And that's what we do. So I think you're just overthinking everything, and you're trying to come up with, and this is like super common in coaching, but also with women, because ladies, you're the franchise player in your house. You know, if I leave, and when I teach class this morning at 6:30, ain't nobody feeding the dog till I get home. You're the franchise player. Last week I taught class. My youngest child, who will be in college next year, didn't get up. And I had to call her in because she was late, because when moms are, so you're the franchise player in your house, and you're used to, thinking about everything, and you got to let some of that go when it comes to coaching. I think you're overthinking this. If you find, as I think is the most common finding and experience across the board, and certainly has been mine in 10 years, that your best coaches come from your challenge groups, then focus on that. And the ones that come into you for the business, awesome. Put them in your coach mentorship group, whatever you call it, but seek out challengers and then bring them into the business as it feels organic, and stop worrying about what should my messaging be and what should I be communicating. I just think we overthink so much of this business. If you think that your place to find the best coaches, and I agree with you, are your challenge groups, then pour your heart and soul and love into your challenge groups so that they understand how cool this opportunity is, and be constantly planting the seed that, hey, they can do this too. Because if you're doing it right and they're doing it right, not too long into their journey as a challenger, someone's going to say to them, what are you doing? You look amazing. That's the perfect opportunity for you to be able to say, well, you could also be running your own challenge group, or you could be running this with me, whatever. I just think you're overthinking it, and you're looking for a magical system. And it's just go find really amazing challengers who love you, love this company, love these products and programs, and help them get really amazing results. They will become your best coaches. And if you're overthinking, well, I need to go out and get business people, there are women out there who will become amazing CEOs. They don't even know it yet. They're just trying to find a workout. And that's where the challenge group comes in. I wholeheartedly believe our best coaches come from challenge groups. Just go do that. And also, if you're going to teach a fitness class, make sure those people are following you on social media, because the only time that they're getting fit shouldn't be your class. You should be using this as a platform to help them connect with a solution on the day they can't get to class. Some of my best challengers have come from my classes, and I cannot be on the mic and talk about Beachbody ever, ever, ever. So that doesn't happen. But I'm hoping they're following me on social media, and the day that they can't get to class because they have a field trip or their kiddo is sick or whatever, they understand that I have a resource for them to help them stay healthy and fit, and that the only way they're getting healthy fit is just not my class. So it's a great platform.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question that, you know, I hear all the time about, you know, numbers, and I hear all the time about top coaches and what they're pulling in. And I also know that that means there has to be outsourcing then. So my question is to you, what do you have your assistant do for you?
I don't have an assistant.
That is awesome. Okay, I don't either. So that's something that's been huge for me because it hasn't ever resonated with me. But then I hear all the time about people and their assistants, and I'm like, well, how is it, you know, personal? And I'm nothing against people who have it, but I've been asked whenever we have these meetings, I've actually been asking this to see who does, who doesn't, and it seems to be kind of like 50-50. So
I have an assistant. I have a couple coaches on my team who help me with a couple things, because we are not meant to do it all. Hi, female human who thinks you have to do it all. You are not meant to do it all. We are not meant to do it all. And I remember years ago, because I was a fitness instructor, then a master trainer for Shalene. I think I was the second class of master trainers for Shalene Johnson when it was Powder Blue Productions. And I remember very vividly having a breakdown in my closet here in this house, so probably like 10 or 11 years ago, on the phone with her, crying, and her saying, what is holding you back? What is your biggest mountain right now? And I'm like, it's the laundry. I can't keep up with the laundry. You know, there's 5 of us and we're working out, we're doing all this stuff. And she said, okay, hire someone. And it was like, oh, the heavens opened up to me, and I went, oh, I don't have to do everything. No, you do not. You do not have to do everything. My husband has been a football coach his entire life. Played football in middle school, played football in high school, played football in college, immediately went into a graduate assistantship for 4 years, became a college football coach. He goes to work every day with a staff. He does not go down there and coach 110 young men the game of football on his own. And he's done nothing else except football his entire life. I'm guessing, Christy, and everyone on here, that we've come into this as a second job, as a part-time job, as a side hustle, as something else. We've come into this in addition to what would ever make us think we're supposed to know or do it all. When my husband has only done this, and he has a staff and an administrative assistant. So it's okay to have help. I just don't really have someone who is a full-time assistant. That doesn't make it right. It also makes it a little limiting, because I've got some big goals and I'm probably not going to achieve them unless I get some help, because my business is at that place. But for 10 years, sort of been me chugging along. And one of my coaches, Rachel, who helps me run Success Club, reports and does a graphic for me. And then my teenagers who'll go, don't say that on social media, Mom, or here's a good picture or whatever, just chugging along. So I think there's a misconception sometimes that you have to have an assistant, but I also, to balance that out, think you got to get over the fact that you think you have to do it all on your own. And an assistant can look different in your life for all kinds of people. I have a housekeeper instead. Okay. And I need you to understand that my house is very, very, very tiny. It's very tiny. We bought it a long time ago, way before Beachbody. It's very, very tiny. And I tell people when they come here, if you take a right turn instead of a left and you find yourself in the very big homes in Carmel, Indiana, you have taken the wrong turn, and you're going to need to turn the other way and come right over here to the little teeny tiny homes. This is where we live. And this is where we've always lived since we lived in Indiana. It's very teeny tiny. But I found that I couldn't keep up with the laundry. I found that having a cluttered home with 3 very busy children and a husband who's gone 90% of the time really inhibited my work process. I found that I don't like to cook. I found that there were some things that Cindy could do in my home a couple days a week that then allowed me to do the things that I can do. I can talk to my challengers. I can mentor my coaches. My girls do not care who folds their underwear. So that's what I invested in, because I want to do the business stuff. I like it. I love it. I don't like the numbersy, part of it, but I like what we do a lot. And I like talking about business, and I really like working out, and I like social media, and I like learning about it. I don't like doing laundry. So that's the part where I invested, and that made more sense for me. So if you're feeling like I need some help, don't box yourself into thinking you need some help just in the business. It could be that you need someone just to come in 2 days a week to do your laundry, and that frees up 3 hours a week where you're doing something else. Or you need someone to come in and do your meal prep or to do some cooking for you or something, and that frees up a couple hours. Or you need someone to, someone asked me a while ago, well, could you hire a high school student to drive your kids? Because my husband's gone all the time. So it was me that was the chauffeur forever. And I said, no, I will never outsource that. Time in the car with my girls, I can't get that back. But someone else can fold their underwear. So that I can outsource. So you have to decide what, and just get creative with it. I think too often we think in the business that it has to be someone that's an assistant with the business. It could really be someone who comes in and walks your dog, because that's just a thing. So when Shalene asked me what was the mountain and it was laundry, she's like, then that's what you're outsourcing. That's what you're doing. And before I could afford to hire someone to come in, I literally took it to a laundromat that we have here and dropped it off, and then would pick it up 2 days later. Because that was a time saver for me. So I would do that. No one runs my errands for me. No one goes to the UPS store for me and mails out packets of Shakeology. Sometimes my daughter makes my graphics. Usually it's me on Word Swag. Figure out what's going to help you the most. And if it's laundry, hire someone. And get over the fact that someone else is doing your laundry. Nobody cares. No one cares. Just get their laundry done.
Thank you so much. That's so good.
Julie, I have a question.
Trying to find who's asking me.
I'm right here. I'm the hot mess.
Oh, there you are. Okay, yay. Okay.
So I have a question. I was just talking to one of the top leaders on my team, and so let's take, for instance, we're all in the round table. So we saw David Atkins' post yesterday, I'm sure, where he said it's all figure outable. I feel the same freaking way.
Figure it out.
What are the conversations? So I took that back to my team, right? We're also doing this big thing with Diesel Nation. It's Olympics. Like, we've given weeks for people to figure it out, but you still have those people that are like, oh my God, it's like the end of the world. I didn't figure it out. I didn't figure it out. I didn't get it. What do your conversations look like? Because I really want to go and have a come to Jesus as you didn't really want it because you knew about it. And can we just get on the same page that you're sucking energy out of the entire team when you're complaining? And you're an amazing discount coach. That's what I want to go and say. It's like, love you where you're at, but what would that look like?
Here's my question. Why do you feel the need to say that to them? They already know that. So why do you feel the need you don't need to say that to them. Here's what my husband told me a long time ago. Not everyone can be the quarterback on the team. Not everyone can be. Not everyone should be. Not everyone wants to be. And that's okay. Because we need some people that are sitting the bench. We need some people that are the get back guy, like get back from the line so you don't get a penalty. You got to have a get back guy. Maybe she's your get back guy. Maybe she's good at something else. But why do you think, and I ask this rhetorically, there's really no need to have a conversation. She knows she doesn't want to build a business. She knows she doesn't. And the more we pressure them to build a business, it just makes them feel bad because they don't really want to. If they wanted to, they would figure it out. So they don't want to.
What they're saying, their actions already proving is what you're
saying. Correct.
Yes.
They don't want to, and that's okay too. Or maybe they don't want to right now. Or maybe they haven't read the right personal development book. Maybe they haven't gotten in a room and heard Carl talk and had their soul set on fire by what someone said and go, oh, now I get it. Maybe all of that. But I think that life is too short to spend with people who suck your energy. And if you find yourself doing this, when you talk to them, that's time to stop talking to them. And I mean, have your gut checks, because when I find myself going, seriously, she's asking me this question again, that's when Josie, who's home right now, will go, okay, she's bothering you, Mom. She's annoying you. That coach is annoying you. You need to stop talking to her. I'm like, you're right. I need to stop talking to her because she's going to figure it out. Or she's not, and it's okay, which doesn't mean they don't have access to every single resource that's on the team. It just might mean you don't have quite as many one-on-one conversations with them because they suck your energy. Your vibe comes from your tribe. You are in charge of your tribe. If they're sucking your energy, you don't have to give them any more. You can remove them from your life. That ladies, can also mean your family. So that also means when my sister calls, I don't pick up the phone, and I'm okay with that. So you have to be okay with your vibe so connected to your tribe that you are intentional about your tribe. And if she's not working the business and showing you that she's not working the business, she doesn't want to work the business, and that's okay. She'll be an amazing discount coach, and that's okay. Not everyone can be the quarterback. Not everyone can be the head coach. Not everyone can be you. So then your job just becomes to talk to the people who do want to be you, and then go find more of those, which sounds easy. It's super, super not. It's really, really hard to find those people. But that's what we're all looking for all the time. You, yourself.
Thank you.
Hey, Julie, it's Whitney.
Hi, I'm trying to find you.
Okay, I'm in pink.
Oh, there you are. I see you.
Couple of my coaches, we all follow you religiously. And so I asked them, I threw the question out. I said, we're talking to Julie today. Do you guys have any questions for her? So I'm going to read you what she wrote.
Okay.
She said, you've recently seemed to kick it into a very high gear. I'm curious as to what brought on the change and how she found the inspiration to do so much later in her business. Also, does she find it challenging to find women over a certain age, and what seems to attract them? She's about probably in her 50s and building us, and been a coach for about 4 years now. 3 years, 3.5, 4.
So I'll talk to that second question first,
Okay.
because I think what gives us, because my girls are older, so I don't have little ones, but I was building the business when I had younger girls. So here's the cool thing. I have been there and done that. So that's my messaging. Because there's probably very little that someone's going to go through with their children that with 3 daughters and a husband who's never home, I haven't gone through. And if I can build this business with a husband who's never home and 3 extremely busy daughters with very expensive passions that they are pursuing, anyone can build this business. So my messaging now becomes, I've macheted my way through the forest for you. You don't have to figure it out so much. I did that. I can be your guide. So it's not about the business I built. It's really about helping them understand that I have been there and done that. So as they get older, as coaches get older, I think that becomes a really valuable place from which to come. It's a great space. You know, I really prefer the coach who's about 10 years younger than me, whose kids are 10 years younger than mine. I want that person. Why? Because that was me. So that's who I want. I want me 10 years ago with kids about that age, because if they have kids who are about 8, and if you have kids who are about 8 and you're like, well, I'd like to make some more money, but I don't really need it right now. Wait 10 years, my friend. Wait 10 years. You better be starting right now. And even my daughter, who connects the dots sometimes better than some of my grown women coaches, said one day we were walking down the streets of New York, and she said, you know, I'm pretty sure you never thought that we would want to do, my old star did drum corps. I'm pretty sure you never thought Jenna would want to do drum corps every summer, and it would be, you know, several $1,000s to do that. Pretty sure you never thought I wanted to be a ballerina and I would need to do all these summer intensives. It'd be so expensive to do that. Pretty sure you never thought Jessie was going to go into musical theater and we were going to be several $1,000s for her to do musical theater camps. But I just knew I wanted to say yes to whatever it was. So I started working the business, because whether they wanted to do it at 8 or 18, I wanted to be ready. So as an older coach, you can tell your younger ones that. I want myself 10 years ago. That's who your person should want to. Themselves a few years ago and why they came into the business. Second piece, how do I stay inspired? Is that right?
Yeah, kind of like how you kicked it in high gear. She feels like your business like went really soon, but I'm not sure if that's true or not, or if it's just been your consistency over time.
Well, I'm scratching my head because I don't understand how people are not inspired by this business. So if you are not inspired in your business, you're probably not inspired in your life. So get out from behind your computer and go do something and bring that inspiration back. I talk to my coaches a lot about this, because I think coaches in particular, not just women, but men too, tend to compartmentalize. Like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do my business, but then I'm going to go play with my kids, and then I'm going to go do this and do that. Well, for me, all of that is one. Everything is very synergistic. So when I'm watching, because we have season tickets to the Broadway series here in Indy. So when I'm watching The Lion King on stage on Sunday, and he says in The Lion King, we are more than what we have become, in this Broadway show. I can't wait to tell my coaches that. That's my first thought. I don't think to myself, well, I'm sitting here in The Lion King and I'm not doing my business right now. No, he said that line and I said, I can't wait to tell my coaches that. I go to Disney and they're doing construction and they've got a quote on the wall and I see the quote and I go, I'm taking a picture. I have to tell my coaches that. Everything is connected. So if you're not inspired in your business, you're not inspired in your life. So figure out how you can get inspired in your life. And in the pieces of the business, that might mean, okay, so what programs resonate with you? For me, it's always Shaun T. Like if I'm feeling like, oh, I'm just, I finished a program, not really sure what I want to do, I just go back to Shaun, and that will always re-inspire me in my fitness. If I'm not sure that I'm inspired in what I'm reading or listening to, I can put it down. There are a gazillion books and podcasts in the world. I don't have to read or listen to what everyone is reading and listening to. And if it's not resonating with me, I can just put it down and find something else. So I'm constantly staying inspired in some way in my life because I have lots of pursuits and passions outside Beachbody. Even though this is not what I do, this is who I am. But everything I do comes back to who I am. So if I'm seeing a Broadway show, or if I'm traveling, or if I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm listening to a podcast, I'm going to a conference, whatever it is, 100% of the time, I'm finding something that's inspiring me that I immediately think I have to bring that back to my team. So for me, that's not staying inspired so much in the business, it's staying inspired in my life. If you're bored in your business, you're probably bored in your life. Figure it out. Go do something. Go take a trip, get out from behind your laptop and your computer, go see a show, go see a movie, go have a date, go to a new restaurant, take a trip, do something that will inspire you. And if you don't know what inspires you, what a beautiful opportunity to figure it out. What lights me up? What makes me cry when I experience it? Go figure it out. Hands down, if you figure that out and you put more of that in your life, you will have a better business too. So I don't know that I kicked it up. I just don't ever go away. I just never go away. Yeah, I think Carl invented an award for me because he's like, well, for God's sake, she's still here. I might as well give her something. I'm going to go inside. Hold on. Okay, my daughter went upstairs. She just gave blood today because she has surgery in a couple weeks. So she went upstairs. So I'm okay here in the kitchen. So Whitney, I don't know if that answered your question, but I hope that it gave you something. You guys, you see this behind me? These are all Broadway shows that we've seen in New York City. You don't have to love Broadway, but I do. I love Broadway, and I love that. Outside of Beachbody, because of Beachbody, inside Beachbody, all about Beachbody. I love it. And if I'm watching that show, 100% of the time there'll be something that someone says that I go, I got to tell my coaches that. So I make sure this is in my life because this keeps me inspired, and that helps me stay inspired in my business because this business is hard, you guys. It can be very hard. It is simple, but it's not easy, and it's relationships. And people will let you down. People that you trust will let you down. People that you think will be rock stars will come in and do nothing. And people that you think will do nothing will come in and blow your freaking minds. But it's hard, and it's relationships and humans are weird. So we have to find ways to stay inspired and bring that back to the business rather than relying on the business to inspire us. We have to be inspired in our life and bring that back to the business. So if you're finding yourself bored in your business, you're probably bored in your life. Come on in. Everyone's very stressed because there's a mower in the backyard. Okay, what else?
I have a question, Julie. It's
Yeah.
Logan. Hi.
Logan, what a great name. That's so fun.
Do you have advice on how to coach your leaders, like your coaches that get to diamond and kind of avoiding that diamond burnout that can kind of happen and getting them to really, see that long game and working towards
2-star when the income starts to catch up more with all the work that they feel like they're doing?
I don't have a lot of great advice for that. I wish I did. And if you can come up with something, please tell me, because I feel like a lot of people really get stuck at Diamond. And this is a great topic for a mastermind conversation or something, because people get stuck at Diamond, and there is that gap between Diamond and 2-star where they start to dial into the bonus. And, you know, I think once they hit the bonus, it's tough to leave that, but it's getting to that. So I think it comes back to whoever asked a minute ago. I think it comes back to finding more people like you, because I think what happens at Diamond, we've all done it. So we can't act like, well, I would never do that. Yes, we did. We all done it. We all start to play defense, and we're so worried about losing our Diamond that we start to just maybe enroll anyone and everyone. Now, I think everyone should be a coach just to save money. So I don't have any issue with that, but sometimes that lends itself to not being intentional and looking for business builders too. So I have a feeling that's what happens with a lot of Diamonds, that they get celebrated at Diamonds so much that, which is weird, because then you would think, well, don't you want to do that for someone else? I don't know why we don't think that. So maybe that's a topic for a mastermind or even a corporate level mastermind. What can we do to make us kind of go like this at Diamond and make us go at 2-star? Because I feel like we go like at Diamond and go, oh, 2-star. You know, I think it needs to be the opposite way. So I think that's a great mastermind, but I don't have any really good answers for that, other than I do believe diving into learning more about social media and how to message and communicate will help you attract better people, and to not play defense, but to continue to look for people who want to build the business rather than people that will just help you hold your Diamond rank. And that's where I think people get stuck. We've all been there and done that. So that's not, you know, specific to just one person.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we're doing in the team right now. Like, we are kind of hosting, you know, masterminds with our Diamonds and our Star Diamonds, so that we get that little bit higher leadership than kind of what they get on team calls. And we talk about, you know, making sure you're staying on offense and not switching into defense. If you don't feel like you have that next person that's really rising up that you see as your next Diamond, it's because you probably just don't have them yet. And to keep sharing and keep inviting. So, okay. I feel like we're kind of on the right page, but
yeah, I think I don't know that there's a really good answer for that, but I do think that it's worth discussions with your Diamonds and your Star Diamonds, in that what do they feel like the holdback is, and then trying to design. We just had this conversation with Market Council, you know, kind of what is holding people back, and then how can we design, not necessarily training, but a conversation around what's holding you back. And so trying to ferret out of people what they think is holding them back and holding their coaches back, and then trying to design some intentional conversations. Sometimes when you call it a training, it turns people off. But if you call it a conversation or a dialogue, it's much more inclusive. So how can we have some conversation around what's holding you back and why, and see if that would help change the dialogue that's happening in the team page, and also just the mindset. But I do really think people get to Diamond and then they just hold on. It's awesome at Diamond. And I also believe that they think that if they go beyond that now they have to have a team page and a team name and team graphics and team shirts and team this and all that. And they're like, dude, I just want to have this little business, you know? And so I found this with my coaches last year, just in getting to Diamond. They were like, oh my gosh, now I'm leading a team. I'm like, no, you're not. You just got 12 people. You're fine. So really reminding them that that's why we have a team. That's why it's not Julie Beachbody or Carl Beachbody or Brittany Beachbody. It's Team Beachbody. And that if they would just to stay dialed into the team, that they don't need to recreate any of that. I think sometimes that fear holds them back from growing. I have no answer for you. What else?
I have one more question before I go into my class. What's your general setup as far as your monthly challenge group? Like, do you have, or is it just like one general and you kind of plug people into what program they need? Or do you have one that's like doing 2B mindset and one that's doing whatever new program launched, or, just what's your layout for that?
So I run one challenge group, period. That's it. One. We're either focused on a program. So we just finished Live 4 and we were program focused. And now we're sort of in limbo a little bit. Some people went back and are doing round 2 of Live 4. Some people wanted to go back to 80-day obsession. I am feeling that people want some quick wins. So I'm inviting to Sean Week next week. And then I'll invite to like the new, I don't know, Brittany, what are we calling those new autumn workouts? Are we calling them a little more obsessed? Okay, so then I'll invite to that. I want to see people come in and do 6 or 7 days of a workout and start to build some fitness habits around that. And then we'll probably do shift shop. I'm saying probably not because I don't have a plan, but I don't love shift shop. I just said it out loud. I don't love shift shop, which doesn't mean I haven't done it. Doesn't mean I won't share it. And doesn't mean I don't love Chris Downing. It just isn't a program that resonates with me. So you have to find your sweet space in between. It's my job to know shift shop. It's also my job to have done it at least once. And it's my job to know Chris Downing, and it's my job to know the tools. Because just because I don't like it doesn't mean I don't have people in my ecosystem who don't. So that's my job. I have to know that. So I have done shift shop. And I've done it enough. I've done the program and I know that I don't love it. It's not my space, but I may have people who do. So I may run a shift shop group, but I also know that starting November 1st through December, I am going to be all about Shaun T. Why? Because I get my best coaches and challengers when I do Shaun T programs. How do I know that? Because I've gut checked and assessed my business. So I know that as awesome as 80-day obsession was, and as fantastic as some of the results were that some people got on my team, it didn't get me a whole ton of, it just wasn't my program. I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. And I think that it did a really great thing in our business. But for me personally, for my personality, I always get my best coaches and challengers when I do Shaun T programs. So I know that because I've assessed that. So that means in November and December, I'm going to go back to Shaun T because that's going to get me ready for Transform 20. So if you're watching me, you're going to see my messaging be a little bit of Shaun T, a little more obsessed, probably shift shop if my current people want to do that, and then it's going to be Shaun T for the last 2 months of the year. That brings me joy. I love doing Shaun T programs. I get my best coaches and challengers, and it makes me love my workouts even more. And what did I just say? If you're not interested, in your business, you're probably not interested in your life. Well, when I go down and press play on a Shaun T program, I love doing that. And that then carries throughout the rest of my day. So think about what you love. Do you love shift shop? Did you love Chris Downing? Then freaking rock it. Even if everybody else is doing 80-day obsession, rock it, because that speaks to you and it speaks to the people that you will attract. That's what you want. There will be other coaches who will do 80-day obsession for eternity, and that speaks to them and the people they will attract. And that's why we have lots of programs. That's why we don't just have P90X, because we got lots of programs for lots of people to speak to lots of people. So kind of figure out what speaks to you, what speaks to your people, and try new stuff. Make sure you know your product, because that's your job as a coach. And then rock what works for you. So I run one challenge group, and I kind of segue it as we go. We just finished the 4. Right now we've got people in there that are doing multiple programs. I'm sharing what I'm doing. Then we'll segue into whatever's next. I'll change the title of it. Come November, it'll be an all Shaun T thing. If they want to stay in, awesome. If they don't, it's okay. I run one, always. And I love 2B mindset, but it's also, I don't really like talking about food, so that's not really my jam. It's okay. That is also okay. It's also okay not to love yoga or Pyo or Turbo or P90X. It's okay. You got to know them, and you better do them so you know them, because you're going to have people that know them, but it's okay not to love everything that we have. That's why we have lots of programs. So when you invite to a challenge group, you invite to a specific group. Yes, I invite to a specific program. Yes, because I feel like if I'm not inviting to a specific program, that's like walking into a gym and they're coming, like, it's like walking into my class and me saying to my class members, what do you guys want to do today? Well, they don't know. That's why they came to me. So I can tell them what to do. So I invite to a specific, so I'm inviting right now for people to do Sean Week next week. Not just to come join my group, but to do Sean Week next week. The people that are already in my group and they've been with me through Lift 4 are doing either another round of Lift 4, some are doing 80-day obsession, one of them's doing quarter force because she's traveling a lot, she doesn't want equipment, awesome, and one of my guys is doing hammer and chisel. Cool. But anyone that I'm inviting right now will do Sean Week. And some of those people that are already in my group right now will take a break from what they're currently doing and just do Sean Week with us next week because they want to. Because who wouldn't?
Julie, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Hi. I can't look at you because I'm driving, but when you say you're inviting to Sean T Week, obviously that's just a thing on BOD. So are you like asking them to, obviously people that have BOD to join you, and then you're selling like the challenge pack BOD challenge pack? Is that what you're doing to have them?
Correct. No one joins my challenge groups without a challenge pack.
Yeah, I know that, but I meant, are you, when you say you're inviting them to Sean Week, like
I'm looking for new people. I'm looking for new people. I want new people coming in and they're buying that $160 challenge pack.
Okay.
And if they're not, and yes, I am checking to make sure that they're on Shakeology or Performance Line Home Direct. And if I see that you're not, or I know that you're not, then you need to fix that or you can't be in the group.
Okay.
And I'm okay with saying that.
And I assume that, their Sean Week, like you said, you'll move them on if they get the small wins with the 7 days. Then they'll be like, all right, this is awesome. I want to move on with you type of thing, right?
Correct. Then they'll just move into we'll do then, if it's available, we'll do a little more obsessed. Because again, that's 6. So that's another small win. And then maybe we'll do clean week. Or we'll do some, because Megan Davies is the cutest thing ever. So we might do that.
Perfect.
And then we may move right into shift shop. And they'll just keep, most of them will just keep moving with me, doing what I tell them to do. That's why they come to us, because they want to be told, and what they have been doing on their own has not been working. So they want the plan and they want the tribe. So that's why they're coming to us. They want to be told what to do. And I say that because don't you sometimes in certain situations in your life, I don't go to my hairdresser and tell Travis what to do with my hair. I sit down and he does what he does, because that's why I go to him. They come to us for a plan and a tribe. That's why they're coming. If what they were doing, they wouldn't be coming to us. So take charge of that. Be in charge of that.
We have time for 2 more questions, and then I'm going to actually ask Julie 2 partying questions. So please, if you have a question, unmute yourself and do ask her.
I have a question going off of the challenge groups. I also run an ongoing group and kind of like that structure. What are you doing to keep the engagement high in your groups? And since it's ongoing and probably a lot of those same people, I'm guessing you're not using like a 21-day script type of thing, but more just content that you want to share, or what are you doing just to keep that engagement up? And also with the HD, like, are you going in weekly to make sure, monthly to make sure they're still getting their HD?
Don't stress yourself out about that. I mean, I'm just asking them in a weekly or bi-weekly message, hey, you still, whatever. If they lie to me, they lie to me. I mean, we're all grown-ups. So don't stress yourself out about that. It's not the end of the world. But to get in the group, they have to be on Shakeology or Performance Line HD. So at some point, they've had that in their life. I want them to continue, so I'm going to continue to check in on that. But I'm also not going to stress out about that, because like you, we have lots of other moving pieces in our life. So I'm going to check in. I'm going to hope that they're honest, and I'm going to assume everyone's a grown-up here and that they want to be here doing the right thing. And if they're not, they'll tell you. I mean, literally, I've never had anyone tell me that they are when they're not. They'll say, oh, no, I put it on pause. I'm like, okay, cool. You got to start that up to stay in the group. Okay, I'll do that right now. Cool. Awesome. Let's go. So just don't make it so formal. And so, again, don't overthink it. Check in with them. With regard to content, I use a lot from the Beachbody blog. That is a gold mine. And why would I send them someplace else? I use a ton from the Beachbody blog. The blog rocks. It does, Christine. It is amazing. So I use a ton from the Beachbody blog because I want them, shopping in my shop, if it were. I want them to see that this is such an incredible health and fitness resource. So I use a ton from the Beachbody blog. I'll go in and use some of the general stuff, or I just, or it's just sort of accountability check-ins. Like, here's my workout today. Here's my shake recipe today. Here's what I made, little frozen shake treats today. Here's what I did. And, they engage. They're grown-ups. I do Facebook Live. Sometimes we do a Zoom workout. I don't stress about it. I run a really good challenge group most of the time because but I stress about it. And if they don't want to check in, then I ask them I'll say, can you maybe just check in 3 times a week? Yep, I can do that. Awesome. If they don't want to, okay. It's their results. So I think we overthink the challenge group thing too. There's a lot in the business I think we overthink. And by we, please know I'm including myself in that a lot all the time, because my daughter's always like, could you just take that out of your brain, Mom? Stop stressing about that. I'm like, I can't. But we do. We overthink a lot of it. And, do your workout, drink your shake, share what you're reading, put that all in your challenge group and just make it a conversation rather than a structured, let me teach you this. Just have conversations with them every day. And I think that keeps people engaged. They don't want to feel like they're being tutored, but they do want to feel like there's a plan. That's why they came to you. Just create community. That's all you're doing is create community.
I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, you're amazing and just lighting such my life up, really.
Oh, you're so
I'm really digging into this whole idea of leadership and duplicating that. And I'm reading this book, Hero Maker, where I know where I'm going. That's where I'm going, but my vision is these leaders rising up and just taking action. So my question for you is, and it's not just rank related, because I don't think that necessarily equals leadership, is what are your best practices to really duplicating leaders, and what does that actually mean to you with the people that you work with and what they're doing, the questions that you ask them?
That's a great question. And I think it's probably a little different for me because I started so long ago and it was just me for a really, really long time. So a Super Saturday event was just a Spartan Nation event, or a live event was just a Julie Voris Spartan Nation event. So for a long time, it was just us. So to make that transition and to understand that, I had to give that up very tangibly and say, we're going to do this amazing team meeting and I'm not going to speak at it. You, and you speak. Now, that seems like that's A, very common sense, and B, less stressful. But let me just tell you, it was not. Because as a type A control person I was the first and only coach. We were the first team. Every first that happened in this state was our team. So to then give that up and go, I'm just going to stand in the back of the room for this team training and let you that was super hard. And it was exactly what I needed to do. So now we do our team calls, and after having conversation with my leaders and talking to them about what kind of content they wanted on team calls, they really want to hear vision and big picture from me. They like tangible strategy stuff from other coaches on our team. So that means I talk, which makes me really happy because that dials into my strength. So what is your strength? And think about what is your strength? What do you love to talk about? It could be the tangible stuff or maybe not, but whatever your strength is. And then the other stuff that your team needs to be everybody else. So that you're giving them the big picture and you're telling them where we're going, but you're letting other people speak to them as to how to get there. Because it's no different than when your kids go to school and their teacher tells them the exact same thing that you've been telling them for 10 years. And they come home, they're like, Mrs. Jones is so smart. She said this. I'm like, I've been telling you that for 10 years. It's just a different voice. So they need to hear it in different voices. They need to hear from coaches who've been doing it 3 months, 3 years, 3 days. They need to hear from a coach who's come on and in 2 months blown it out of the park, and they need to hear from a coach who's come on and in a year and a half been frustrated, but they're still in it. And they need to hear all these different voices because each coach has a different strength. So I think that was a piece of advice I got from my mentor, who used to be a Beachbody. He's not a Beachbody anymore. And also from Jeff Hill. And he goes, this is going to be the hardest thing that you're ever going to have to do, is that you're going to do something, you're going to run something for your team, and you're not going to talk. And I'm like, I don't even understand that. And at the time I couldn't. And now literally I'm like, thank goodness. Because there's a whole lot of people on our team who are enormously smarter than I am and have a lot more skills and strengths than I am and can teach in a lot better ways than I am. And when you give them that power, they're waiting for that. They're itching for that. They're craving that. And now people see that it's not just one person who can have success one certain way. It's lots of people can have it in lots of different ways. So consider what your strength is, where you can best share that with your team, and then start giving a lot of power and opportunity to other people on your team, even if they're not star diamonds, even if they're just an emerald coach, give it to them. Say, you just ran an amazing challenge group. You just had, 20 Success Club points. You're an emerald. What are you doing? And get them on there and let them talk. Lots of voices.
Julie, this makes me realize, well, not really realize, but I think it just also shows how great you are at asking questions. You wouldn't ever know that you are so great at the big picture and the overseeing of all of this if you didn't ask your team, that. So I feel like it's an opportunity to ask your coaches really great questions. Did somebody unmute themselves? I'm going to ask 2 last questions, but I don't want to interrupt anybody. Nope, I think I have the floor. Okay, my last 2 parting questions, because I got asked this question yesterday, and I'm like, ooh, I'm taking this to Julie. And I did kind of prep you on it. I'm like, ponder this today, please. So she kind of knows, but all of you don't. So this will be really fun. So what would be, because as you know, these are strong leaders working towards big goals. The majority of them are working towards 10-star diamond and above by the end of the year. What would you say your top 5 tips are for 15-star diamond?
Well, what they would have been, what they were and what they are now are probably different, because, we hit 15-star in 2015. But my number 1 tip for any long-time goal is patience, because I knew I wasn't going anywhere. And it took us 7 years to become a Superstar Diamond team. And we hit that in April 2015. This is September 2018. So in 3.5 years, we've only dropped that rank 1 time for a couple weeks. There aren't very many teams who have done that. So there is some value to patience and consistency, persistence, and knowing that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow just because other coaches have. Own your journey. It was going to take us a little bit longer because I don't have a husband who's going to come home and work the business with me. And I have 3 kids with a husband who's gone all the time. It all fell on me. Okay, cool. So that might mean it could take me a little bit longer, but I still am not going anywhere. We have a goal to be double superstar. It might happen next year. I hope it really does. But if it doesn't, I'm not quitting the business because it doesn't happen. I just keep learning and trying to get better. So be patient, but be urgently patient. Number 2, be so coachable. If nothing else, be so coachable. I was at, one of my coaches had a little leader retreat. Brittany, I think you spoke at it, Erin's little leader retreat that she had. And I talked on Saturday afternoon, and then I was there for some conversation that they were having, and this coach was sharing about it. And she's like, as she's talking, she's sharing these goals she has that she hasn't hit yet. And I said, you're fighting this. Well, I don't think I am. And like in that sentence, I don't think I'm like, okay, you're fighting this, so she's in her head kind of thinks she's coachable, but in her heart, she hasn't been. And I think the weekend was a real changer for her. I think it was a game changer for her. She understood that. That will serve you well, not just in this business, but in life, and it will keep you here. it's one of the ways that I stay so inspired to work this. I don't really have a great handle on Instagram yet. So how fun that I get to learn it. I'm very coachable when it comes to that. I don't really have a great handle on getting my diamonds to 2 and 5 and 10 star. How cool is it that I get to learn that? Well, the only way that we get to learn that is if we're coachable. You have to stay coachable. You will never have it figured out. If you do, you don't, and you should just quit if you think you do. So just be done with it. So you have to be so coachable. Number 3, your tribe is everything. So be very intentional about who you want on it, who's in your inner circle, including your family. Be very intentional about communicating with your family what your goals are. Be very intentional with your tribe. Do this business and this life on purpose. Don't just sit in the passenger seat. Communicate with your family what your goals are and get them in on what you're doing. Help them connect the dots between, I'm going to do this call and that's going to help us get to Disney World. I'm going to do this call and I'm going to help you buy those point shoes for ballet class. I'm going to do this call and you're going to get to go to college next year. So it's connecting the dots between what you're doing and where it's going, and your family is your most important tribe. So your tribe is everything. You've got to communicate with them. You've got to look and be intentional for the people you want in your inner circle. And it's okay to take some people out, because as you grow in this business, you should take some people out that are in your life now. They should go away because they're not going to help you get better. Be intentional about that. I don't think anything is random. I don't think anything happens by coincidence, and I don't think anything happens by chance. I think in our busyness of life, we think, wow, wasn't that cool that I happened to wear my Insanity shirt today to the grocery store and that woman talked to me about it? No, that wasn't cool. That was meant to happen. That was meant to happen. She was meant to cross your path because she needs your help. Wasn't that cool when I went to the dry cleaner and I picked up my jacket and she's like, oh, I didn't know you were involved in Beachbody. That's so interesting. Don't turn around and walk away. That's not random. I really believe nothing is random. I don't think it was random that it took us 7 years to become a Superstar Diamond team. I think it was the journey we were supposed to take. And if it would have happened 3 years ago, we wouldn't have appreciated it and we wouldn't be as strong as we are today. I think nothing is random, and we attribute it to being random or coincidence because we're so busy we don't want to pay attention to it.
Oh no, she froze. Come back. Okay, you're back. You're back.
Okay. I don't know if it's you or me. Could be me. You have to do the stuff that is inconvenient, and you have to embrace the season. Seasons that you have to get out of bed at 4:30 a.m. and do the work. Sorry. You just do. There will be seasons that you get 4 hours of sleep a night. It just is what it is. That's not forever. Those of you that have smaller children, babies, do you remember when you brought your newborn home? I remember when I brought Jenna, my oldest, home for the first time, and like she never slept. And I remember looking at my mom going, is this what it's like? Because I don't know if I can do this if she's never going to sleep the entire time. And then like 4 days later, she slept a little bit. And then 14 days later, she slept a little more. And that was a season, those first few days where she didn't sleep. And then I brought Josie home, and she was lactose intolerant. And she like vomited everywhere. And I'm like, is this what it's like with a second child? Because I can't do it. And it was just a season. It's a season. So there are seasons of get up and hustle your ass off. And then there are seasons where you get to go to Mexico and sit on a beach and not think about. We frozen again?
No, now you're good.
Okay, good. And I think that coaches forget that. And even as a 10-year coach, there are seasons of really strong hustle, get up at 5 a.m. and get in there and talk to my team. And then there was Labor Day weekend where for 2.5 days, my girls and I sat in Mexico and I read a really good book, and I didn't check in with my challengers. Because those 2 days, that was my season. I needed that so much. But that was because I'd hustled for about 4 months prior to that. So you got to embrace the hustle, and you got to do it when it's super inconvenient. And you got to know that you doing that is the stuff that other people won't do, and you get to build a life that other people won't build. I don't know about you, but I don't want average, and I don't want ordinary. I want this. I want to be able to do this anytime I want. I want to pick up and go to Disney on a weekend if I feel like it. I want to take my team on a trip. I want my girls to come to me and say, I want to go to Pace University. It's probably going to cost $35,000 a year. And me go, okay, let's go. And the only way that happens is to do the stuff that nobody else wants to do at the time that nobody else wants to do it. We've lost a little bit of that, I think, in our culture now with, social media and everything being so quick and Instagram stories being 15 seconds. Our attention span is 15 seconds. Your attention span needs to be much longer than that. You got to be in this for the long play, and you have to understand that what you're doing today, you might not see results from today, but if you keep doing it today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day, you will see results. If you would have told me 10 years ago how different my life would be now in every single way, I wouldn't have believed you, because I couldn't have seen that then. You have to understand that coming in this business now with as many success stories as you see that you are creating yourself, there's nothing you can't do. And probably whatever goal you have on your vision board right now, it's probably too small. It's probably too small. And you should probably enlarge it.
Okay. Last, you're off the hook for those were incredible. First of all, thank you. And I'm glad I gave you a little bit of a heads up because those are big freaking questions. No pressure. Okay. Last but not least, just parting words. And what would you say to this crowd of women that are working hard by the end of the year? We're obviously going into Q4, last 3 months of 2018. What would you say to them to encourage them to stay true to their big goal and to continue to show up every single day?
Well, my husband always says, don't give up what you want most for what you want now.
My favorite quote. Okay, keep going.
He says that all the time, especially when you're dealing with 20-year-old kids. Don't go out and party on the Saturday night after the game, and that's not going to help you win the conference championship. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to win the conference championship of life, whatever your goal is. And you can't give up what you want most for what you want now. And what you want now might be to watch Bachelor in Paradise, and that does not get you an extraordinary life. It just doesn't. And there will be a season in your life when you can watch Bachelor in Paradise all freaking day long. It's probably not right now. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to be okay with that. But it should be because, and I hope it's because, and work to make it because this business is so joyful and so life-changing. Don't forget that. Hustle like crazy. Do the stuff that's inconvenient. Stay focused on what you want most. And have fun while you're doing it. Because I think if you get to be in a business that changes lives every day, what more fun can that be? There's no better job. I talked to Brittany. I had a quick call with Doug Moss yesterday. And I'm like, we all get to the place, like I'm sharing this with you guys. And yesterday I'm talking to him going, beating my head against the wall. We're all, and it's all perspective. We're all in those places on our business. We're trying to get to double superstar. And it feels like the mountain is so high, and he said, here's my advice to you for the next 3.5 months. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm about to write it down. He goes, have fun. Just have fun. Well, I'm going to need a little bit more than that. He's like, no, you don't. Because everything else is already dialed in. You have the stuff you need. You're pressing play, drinking a shake, and putting good stuff in your head. Now go have fun and share that with people. Go have fun and help people understand that can change their life. Go have fun and help people understand that you can help them get results. Go have fun and help them understand that health and fitness shouldn't feel like this overwhelming forest, that you are here to give them a plan. Go have fun and do really cool things with your tribe so that other people look at that and go, oh, I want to be a part of that. Go have fun, because this business should be fun. And when you find yourself overthinking it, like we all do, because we're a bunch of women and that's what we do. Then you got to take a moment and you got to get out from behind your laptop and intentionally seek out a meeting, a coffee, a lunch, an act, something that helps you go, you know what, this needs to be fun. So if you be intentional about, let's have lunch with my coaches. Let me go have coffee with it. Let me do this kind of stuff to help me remember that this should be fun. We change lives on a daily basis. Most importantly, the ones in our house. It's the coolest job ever. And we get to do it wearing workout clothes. There's no better job. So have fun and know that you can do it, because my town was 1,200 people and still doesn't have a stoplight in it. If I can figure it out, anyone can figure it out. So you can figure it out. You just have to trust yourself. Trust and believe that you can do it and have fun while you're doing it.
Beautifully said. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whew. That was a good call, Julie. That was really good. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I mean, just all the chat is just obviously incredible, and how much they love you and adore you. And I just want to say thank you for committing for 10 years and for a lifetime to us. I mean, you can tell your passion radiates, and I love the sounding advice. And it sounds like my boss. He's so simple and he's so, let's go have fun. Like that's just right. And it's like,
I know. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Right. And we forget that. So thank you, Julie, so much for your time. We truly appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I'm honored. I'm always honored to share. I'm always honored that someone remembers I'm still in the business. So thanks for having me.
You're in the business and we know you're not going anywhere. So thank you, ladies. Have an amazing day.